Wemby keeps rewriting history. Wemby is having one of the most jaw-dropping sophomore seasons in NBA history. His numbers, his records, and his sheer impact on the game are nothing short of extraordinary. At just 20 years old, he's doing things on the court that most players can only dream of, and the way he's been rewriting the record books is incredible. Let's dive into the stats, milestones, and history-making moments that have defined his season. To start, Wemby is averaging 25.6 points per game, which puts him 8th in the league. That's not just impressive, it's elite. He's also pulling down 10 rebounds per game, ranking 14th in the NBA, and adding 3.9 assists per contest, which lands him 59th. These numbers already paint a picture of a well-rounded superstar, but there's more. His shooting efficiency has been stellar, hitting 48% of his shots from the field, a testament to his ability to balance scoring inside and outside the paint. Now, let's talk about his defense. Wemby is leading the entire league in blocks, swatting away an insane 3.9 shots per game. His defensive presence alone changes how opponents approach games. The paint is practically a no-fly zone when he's on the court. It's not just about quantity, it's the quality of those blocks that's truly remarkable. One of the season's standout moments came when Wemby recorded his second career 5x5 game. He finished with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, and 5 blocks. That performance made him just the third player in NBA history to achieve multiple 5x5 games, joining legendary names like Hakeem and Andrei Kirilenko. This stat line highlights his rare ability to dominate every aspect of the game. Wemby's versatility as a scorer, rebounder, and defender has been on full display in multiple games this season. In one particularly memorable performance, he tallied 24 points, 16 rebounds, 7 blocks, and hit 6 of his 9 three-point attempts. This made him the first player in NBA history to record multiple games with at least 20 points, 15 rebounds, 5 made three-pointers, and 5 blocks. It's the kind of stat line that leaves you speechless. Another unforgettable night came when Wemby scored 50 points at just 20 years and 314 days old. That made him the 4th youngest player ever to hit the 50-point mark. On top of that, he became the first player in league history to record 20 made three-pointers and 13 blocks over a 3-game span. Those numbers are unheard of, especially for someone so young. Wemby isn't just scoring and blocking shots, he's setting all-time records along the way. He became the youngest player in history to score 30 points and block 10 shots in a single game, breaking Dwight Howard's record by nearly 2 years. He also became the first player ever to hit 4 three-pointers and block 10 shots in the same game. His ability to combine elite shot blocking with perimeter shooting is something the league has never seen. On Christmas Day, Wemby delivered a performance for the ages. He scored 40 points and grabbed 15 rebounds, becoming just the 3rd player in NBA history to achieve those numbers in a Christmas game. The other two, Wilt Chamberlain and Nikola Jokic. He also posted the 3rd highest scoring total for a player making their Christmas Day debut, trailing only Chamberlain and Tracy McGrady. It was a performance that cemented his place as one of the league's brightest stars. Defensively, his consistency has been staggering. Wemby has blocked at least 1 shot in 66 consecutive games, which is double the previous streak for players under 21. The next closest streak belongs to Mitchell Robinson at 33 games. Wemby's streak also surpassed David Robinson's franchise record of 61 games with a block. That kind of consistency is unheard of, especially for someone still so early in their career. His December alone was a masterclass in dominance. He led the league in blocks, ranked 5th in free throw percentage, 6th in points per game, and 7th in made three-pointers. He also came in 17th in rebounds. This kind of versatility across the stat sheet is what makes Wemby so special. What's even more telling is how his coaches have trusted him more as the season has progressed. His minutes per game have steadily increased, starting at 30.9 in October, rising to 32.7 in November, and climbing to 34.6 in December. It's clear they see him as the centerpiece of the team. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Wemby, when you look at his impact compared to entire teams, it's almost laughable. Wemby recorded 50 blocks in December alone. That's more than the entire Raptors, Suns, and Bulls rosters managed out during the same period. The next highest individual player had just 28 blocks. It's not even close. He's not just leading the league in blocks. He's redefining what elite rim protection looks like. One of the most unique aspects of Wemby's game is his ability to stretch the floor as a 7-footer. He now has more career-made three-pointers than dunks, which is almost unheard of for a player of his size. This blend of skills has earned him recognition as Bleacher Report's #1 athlete of the next 25 years. He topped a list that included Caitlin Clark and Connor Bedard, which shows just how bright his future is. Wemby's last 15 games have been nothing short of spectacular. He's averaging 30.2 points, 10.3 rebounds, 4.9 assists, and 3.9 blocks per game. He's shooting 51% from the field, 39% from three, and 87% from the free throw line. Those numbers are elite by any standard, but for a 20-year-old, they're absolutely mind-blowing. Another record he broke this season was becoming the first player in NBA history to record 4 made three-pointers and 10 blocks in a single game. It's a testament to his ability to dominate on both ends of the floor in ways no one else can. And then there's his streak of 22 consecutive games with at least 1 made three-pointer and 1 block. That's the longest streak in NBA history, surpassing Kristaps Porzingis' previous record of 21 games. Wemby's impact extends far beyond individual games and moments. He's already become the single-season blocks leader for the calendar year 2024, with 277 blocks. The next closest players, Daniel Gafford and Miles Turner, each finished with 169. That's over 100 more blocks than anyone else. The gap between him and the rest of the league is almost unfathomable. When you take all of this into account, it's no wonder that Wemby has been able to achieve so much recognition in such a short amount of time. His ability to dominate games on both ends of the court, set records that stand the test of time, and carry himself with such poise and maturity is what makes him one of the most exciting players in the league today. Wemby is not just the future of basketball, he's already its present. His sophomore season has been a historic masterpiece, filled with record-breaking performances, jaw-dropping consistency, and a level of dominance that few players in history have ever achieved. The way he's shaping the game is something fans will talk about for decades. Besides everything I mentioned, there's so many more stats of Wemby's I want to talk about. Right now, Wemby leads the league in block percentage, and it's not even close. His mark is over 2% higher than the second best player, which is a massive gap in a stat that usually has razor-thin margins. He's also ranked 6th in player efficiency rating, 5th in usage percentage, 4th in defensive win shares, 4th in box plus minus, and 5th in value over replacement player. These advanced metrics show just how much he impacts every single game. It's not just about scoring or blocking shots. Wemby is affecting every aspect of the game. One of the most mind-blowing milestones this year is how fast he's hitting career three-pointers. Wemby is officially faster to 200 career threes than Steph Curry, James Harden, and Ray Allen. Those three are the top players in NBA history for three-point shooting, and Wemby has surpassed their pace. For someone his size, this is absolutely unheard of. A 7-footer who can block shots at a historic rate and hit threes faster than the greatest shooters ever, it's wild. His streak of games with at least 1 block is another record-breaking feat. Wemby has now blocked a shot in 62 consecutive games, which is a new franchise record for the Spurs. He surpassed legends like David Robinson, who held the previous records with streaks of 61 and 55 games. The consistency he brings on defense is staggering. Every game, you know he's going to protect the rim like no one else. The Spurs themselves have seen a huge shift with Wemby's emergence as a top 10 player this season. If the season ended today, they'd be 10th in the Western Conference, securing a spot in the play-in tournament. That's a solid position. But honestly, with Wemby playing the way he is, it feels like they could aim much higher. He's not just carrying the team, he's setting them up for long-term success. The West is competitive, but the gap between the Spurs and some of the top teams isn't as big as it seems. The Dallas Mavericks, for example, are only 4 games ahead of San Antonio. And with Luka Doncic out for a month, the door is open for the Spurs to climb the standings. A big trade to bring in another strong player alongside Wemby could make a world of difference. Imagine pairing his dominance with another all-star level talent. It's a game changer. However, the Spurs need to start turning close losses into wins if they want to climb the standings. Their last 3 losses were to playoff teams, the Philadelphia 76ers, New York Knicks, and Minnesota Timberwolves, by a combined 10 points. These weren't blowouts. They were right there in each of those games. Turning 1 or 2 of those into wins could be the difference between a play-in spot and a higher playoff seed. Looking back at last season, a 41-41 record only earned 11th place in the West. To even make the play-in, the Spurs would likely need around 46 wins, which is a tough bar to clear. But with Wemby continuing to dominate and a potential trade to boost the roster, it's not out of the question. This team has the tools, and Wemby is the centerpiece of it all. His ability to adapt and improve throughout the season has been remarkable. He's already a leader on the court, and his teammates trust him in crucial moments. You can see it in how his minutes have increased as the season's gone on. He's gone from being a star to being the go-to guy, and that's a huge responsibility for someone so young. Wemby's growth and his ability to break records so consistently are what make him so special. He's not just meeting expectations, he's shattering them. The Spurs have a generational talent on their hands, and with the right moves, they could turn the season into something really special. Wemby's sophomore year isn't just a great season. It's the foundation of what could be one of the most dominant careers in NBA history. I want to look at some of his advanced numbers though. Wemby's scoring stats in his second season are beyond impressive. He's proving himself as one of the most efficient and versatile scorers in the league, and his advanced metrics showcase just how dominant he's been on offense. Let's break it all down. Wemby is averaging 25.6 points per game, which already places him ahead of 97% of players in the league. That's an incredible feat for someone in just their second season. His ability to consistently put up those numbers shows how reliable and unstoppable he's become as a scorer. Now, his shooting efficiency is where things get really exciting. His effective field goal percentage is 56.7%. which puts him above 68% of players. Effective field goal percentage accounts for the extra value of three-pointers, and Wemby's number here highlights just how dangerous he is from all over the court. He's not just putting up points, he's doing it in a way that maximizes every shot. When you look at points per field goal attempt, Wemby is scoring 1.1 points every time he takes a shot. That's remarkable. It shows how smart he is with his shot selection and how he makes the most of every scoring opportunity. His shooting breakdown tells the story. He's hitting 5.9 two-pointers per game and draining 3.3 three-pointers per game on 19.1 shot attempts. That balance between inside and outside scoring makes him a nightmare for defenders. His true shooting percentage, which factors in free throws along with two-pointers and three-pointers, is an outstanding 60.8%. That puts him ahead of 75% of players in the league. True shooting percentage is one of the best measures of overall scoring efficiency, and Wemby is excelling here. He's scoring 1.2 points per scoring attempt, which is incredibly efficient. His combination of skill, shot selection, and ability to get to the free throw line sets him apart. Wemby is taking 19.1 field goal attempts per game and hitting those at a high clip. But what makes him even more impressive is his ability to capitalize on trips to the free throw line. He's attempting 4.4 free throws per game, adding even more value to his offensive game. Scoring efficiently while maintaining a high volume of shots is a rare skill, and Wemby is doing it effortlessly. These advanced metrics paint a clear picture. Wemby is not just a good scorer, he's one of the most efficient and impactful scorers in the league right now. His ability to score inside, outside, and from the line makes him one of the toughest players to guard. Whether it's his ability to hit tough two-pointers, knock down threes, or get to the free throw line, Wemby's offensive arsenal is as complete as it gets. What's even more impressive is how he's doing this while being such a focal point for opposing defenses. Teams are game planning specifically to slow him down, but he's still putting up these numbers and doing it efficiently. That's the mark of a truly elite scorer. Wemby's advanced scoring stats don't just show that he's good, they show that he's on a trajectory to be one of the best scorers the league has ever seen. But then we can look at his teamwork stats. Wemby's impact on the court goes far beyond scoring and defense. His advanced teamwork stats are next level. In just his second season, he's already showing how much his presence elevates everyone around him. Let's break it all down, stat by stat, to see how Wemby is becoming the ultimate team player. First off, let's talk about his mixed teamwork percentage. Wemby ranks higher than 94% of players in the league. This metric evaluates how much a player's overall presence contributes to their team's success. And Wemby's at the top of the game. It's not just about what he does individually, it's about how he makes his teammates better. His ability to create a positive margin for his team is elite. His offensive rating is 114.4, which shows how efficient the team's offense is when he's on the floor. That's a huge number and highlights how Wemby's offensive presence opens up opportunities for everyone else. Whether it's through setting screens, spacing the floor, or keeping defenses on edge, with his versatility, he's a catalyst for the Spurs' success on that end. Defensively, his rating is 108.6. This stat measures how well the team defends when he's on the court, and Wemby's impact here is undeniable. He's not just a shot blocker, he's a defensive anchor. His ability to disrupt passing lanes, contest shots, and communicate on defense makes the Spurs significantly better when he's in the game. Now the net rating is where things really get exciting. Wemby has a net rating of plus 5.7, meaning the Spurs outscore their opponents by nearly 6 points per 100 possessions when he's on the court. That's a massive swing and shows just how valuable he is on both ends of the floor. Teams don't just win games by scoring more points, they do it by creating those positive margins, and Wemby is doing that better than most players in the league. One of the simplest yet most telling stats is his games with a positive plus minus. Wemby has a positive plus minus in 57.1% of his games. That means in more than half of the games he plays, the Spurs perform better when he's on the floor compared to when he's off. This is a direct reflection of his ability to consistently make a difference for his team. The on-off stat takes things even further. When Wemby is on the court, the Spurs outscore their opponents by 6.3 points compared to when he's off. This number is incredible because it isolates his value and shows how much he impacts the flow and success of the game. It's not just about raw talent, it's about how his presence changes the dynamics of the game. These numbers paint a clear picture. Wemby isn't just a talented player, he's a game changer. His ability to influence the team's performance, create positive margins, and elevate everyone around him is why he's one of the most valuable players in the league. Watching him grow as a teammate and leader in just his second season is incredible, and it's clear he's just getting started. And we can also look at his ball handling stats. Wemby is a 7'4" anomaly in the best possible way, and his advanced ball handling stats in his second season are something to marvel at. Ball handling is usually not a strong point for someone his size, but Wemby flips that narrative entirely. He's not just holding his own, he's excelling in areas that few big men can dream of, and the numbers back it up. Let's start with the basics. Wemby's ball handling ability ranks better than 77% of players in the league, according to a 3-step ranking metric that evaluates this skill. This is mind-blowing. When you consider his height, 7'4" players aren't supposed to move or handle the ball like this, but Wemby does. His size, combined with his agility and control, makes him a truly unique player. Now, let's look at his assist numbers. Wemby is averaging 3.9 assists per game. For a player of his stature, that's a standout figure. It's not just about how many assists he gets, though. It's about the impact those assists have. His assist rate, which measures the percentage of teammate field goals he sets up while he's on the floor, is an impressive 20.73%. This means that over 1/5 of the team's made shots when he's on the court come directly from his passes. That's elite playmaking from a 7'4" center. Those assists translate to 8.9 points per game created for his teammates. That's a significant contribution to his team's offense. Whether he's dishing it out in transition or finding shooters on the perimeter, Wemby is consistently creating opportunities for others. It's not just his scoring that's making an impact. His passing is equally important. Turnovers are often the Achilles heel for players with high usage rates, but Wemby has managed to keep his turnovers under control. His turnover rate, which measures turnovers per 100 actions that conclude a play, is 12.11%. That's lower than 68% of players in the league. For someone who handles the ball as much as he does and is a focal point for opposing defenses, this is a testament to his skill and decision making. He's averaging 3.4 turnovers per game, which is relatively low considering his 21 scoring attempts per game and the sheer number of touches he gets. The balance between his assists and turnovers shows that he's not just a high-volume player, he's efficient. He knows when to make the right play and how to maximize each possession. These advanced ball handling stats reveal just how versatile Wemby is. He's not just a traditional big man standing in the post waiting for the ball. He's actively involved in creating plays and running the offense. His ability to handle the ball at 7'4" is practically unheard of, and it's what makes him so dangerous on the court. It's also worth noting how much his ball handling ability opens up the floor for his teammates. His size and skill demand attention from multiple defenders, which creates mismatches and open looks for others. That assist rate of 20.73% isn't just a number. It's a reflection of how much Wemby elevates the play of those around him. Wemby's combination of size, agility, and ball handling is rewriting what's possible for players of his stature. In just his second season, he's already proving to be one of the most skilled and efficient playmakers in the league, regardless of position. His advanced stats show a player who isn't just talented, he's transformative. Watching a 7'4" player with this kind of control and vision is something basketball fans will be talking about for years to come. But of course, the thing we all know Wemby for, his defense. Wemby's defensive stats in his second season are nothing short of spectacular. At 7'4", he's built like a defensive juggernaut, and his advanced numbers prove he's one of the most impactful defenders in the league. He's not just protecting the rim, he's controlling the entire defensive side of the floor. Let's dive into the stats and see just how dominant he's been. Wemby ranks in the 97th percentile in mixed team defense. This metric evaluates both how well a player prevents the opposing team from scoring and how effective they are in one-on-one situations. Ranking this high is elite, but when you pair that with his physical attributes and skill, it's easy to see why he's such a force. He's not just playing defense, he's redefining it. One of his most impressive stats is his block average. Wemby is rejecting 3.9 shots per game, which is simply phenomenal. Those blocks aren't just padding stats, they're game-changing plays. Opposing players have to think twice before entering the paint, and that hesitation alone can disrupt an entire offensive possession. His shot-blocking ability is one of the key reasons why the Spurs have a team defensive efficiency rating of 108.6 when he's on the floor. Speaking of defensive efficiency, this number measures how well the team prevents opponents from scoring while Wemby is in the game. At 108.6, it's clear that his presence is a major factor in the Spurs' defensive success. Whether it's altering shots, cutting off passing lanes, or challenging drives to the basket, Wemby makes the Spurs significantly harder to score against. His rebounding is another area where he stands out. Wemby is pulling down 8.2 defensive rebounds per game, which is a critical part of finishing defensive possessions. Securing rebounds prevents second-chance opportunities for opponents and gets his team back on offense. His combination of size, timing, and positioning makes him one of the best defensive rebounders in the league. Wemby is also averaging 1 steal per game. While that might not seem like a huge number, it's important to remember that his steals often come from his incredible anticipation and ability to read the offense. Combined with his blocks, these steals make him one of the most well-rounded defensive players in the game. He's not just stopping shots, he's disrupting plays before they even happen. What's even more impressive is how Wemby's individual brilliance elevates the entire team's defense. Opposing teams are scoring far less efficiently when he's on the floor, and his ability to cover so much ground makes it easier for his teammates to stay in position. His mix of shot blocking, rebounding, and general defensive awareness allows the Spurs to play a more aggressive style, knowing Wemby is there to clean up any mistakes. At 7'4", Wemby is a matchup nightmare on defense. His length and mobility allow him to guard multiple positions, which is rare for someone his size. Whether he's switching onto a guard or contesting a center at the rim, he's capable of shutting down almost anyone. That versatility is why he's such a valuable defensive anchor. All these advanced stats paint a clear picture. Wemby is already one of the most impactful defenders in the league, and he's only in his second season. His ability to dominate in so many areas of defense, whether it's blocking shots, grabbing rebounds, or forcing turnovers, sets him apart. Wemby isn't just a great defender, he's a transformational one. Watching him continue to grow in this role is going to be a thrill for years to come. And his rebounding has been elite too. Wemby's rebounding stats in his second season are absolutely phenomenal. At 7'4", he's already one of the league's most dominant rebounders, and the advanced numbers prove just how impactful he's been. He's not just grabbing boards, he's controlling the glass on both ends of the floor, and it's been a game changer for his team. To start, Wemby is averaging 10 rebounds per game, which puts him ahead of 92% of NBA players. That's elite company, especially for someone so early in their career. His ability to consistently hit double digits in rebounds is a testament to his incredible mix of size, positioning, and timing. It's not just about being tall. Wemby knows exactly where to be to secure those boards. Breaking it down further, he's grabbing 8.2 defensive rebounds per game. This means he's locking down possessions and preventing second-chance opportunities for the opposing team. Defensive rebounding is one of the most crucial parts of controlling the game, and Wemby excels at it. His defensive rebound percentage, an advanced stat that shows the percentage of available defensive boards he grabs while on the floor, is an outstanding 22.67%. That places him ahead of 92% of players in the league. Offensively, Wemby is also making his mark. He's averaging 1.8 offensive rebounds per game, which might not seem as flashy, but is incredibly valuable. Those offensive boards create extra possessions and scoring opportunities for his team. His offensive rebound percentage is 5.63%, meaning he's grabbing a higher percentage of available offensive boards than 71% of players. That's impressive, especially for someone who plays as much on the perimeter as he does. What makes Wemby's rebounding even more impressive is how it impacts the flow of the game. His ability to secure defensive rebounds allows his team to transition quickly into offense, while his offensive rebounding creates chaos for opponents trying to finish a defensive possession. He's not just grabbing rebounds, he's dictating the pace and style of play through his work on the boards. Another aspect of Wemby's rebounding dominance is his ability to consistently outperform players in contested situations. Rebounding isn't just about positioning, it's also about fighting for the ball when multiple players are going for it. Wemby's size and reach give him a clear advantage, but it's his tenacity and instincts that really set him apart. He knows when to crash the glass and when to box out, making him a nightmare for opponents trying to secure rebound. His defensive rebounding is especially critical because it allows his team to lock down possessions and prevent easy putbacks. Grabbing 8.2 defensive boards per game means he's taking away countless second chance points from opponents. That kind of consistency on the defensive glass is invaluable and is a big reason why his team's defensive efficiency is so strong when he's on the floor. On the offensive end, those 1.8 offensive rebounds per game might seem small compared to his defensive numbers, but they're just as important. Each offensive board creates an extra possession for his team, giving them more chances to score. For a team, having someone like Wemby who can consistently grab those boards is a massive advantage. Rebounding also shows how Wemby's presence impacts his teammates. When he's on the floor, opposing players often have to account for him in the paint, which opens up rebounding opportunities for others. Even when he's not the one grabbing the board, his presence is creating space and mismatches that benefit the entire team. It's another way he makes everyone around him better. Wemby is more than just a good rebounder. He's one of the best in the league right now, and the numbers back it up. His ability to dominate on both the offensive and defensive glass, combined with his advanced metrics, shows how special he truly is. At 7'4", he's not just living up to expectations, he's shattering them. Watching him control the boards night after night is nothing short of amazing, and it's clear he's only going to get better from here. And then we can look at his usage. Wemby's advanced usage stats in his second season are absolutely mind-blowing. At 7'4", he's not just involved in the game, he's at the center of it, driving his team's offense like no one else. His numbers prove just how critical he is to everything the Spurs do on that end of the floor. Let's break it all down and see why his usage is on another level. Wemby's usage rate sits at an incredible 32.5%, which puts him ahead of 98% of players in the league. This metric shows the percentage of offensive plays that end with an action from him, whether it's a shot attempt, free throw, assist, or turnover. Essentially, when Wemby is on the floor, he's the focal point of the offense. That level of involvement is reserved for only the league's elite players. On average, he's taking 19.1 field goal attempts per game. That's a lot of responsibility for any player, but Wemby handles it with ease. He knows how to pick his spots and make the most of his opportunities. Those shot attempts are a big part of why he's such a key offensive piece. Then there are his free throw attempts, 4.4 per game. This shows how aggressive he is in attacking defenses and drawing contact. Getting to the line not only boosts his scoring, but also puts pressure on opponents to adjust their game plan. His ability to earn trips to the line is another way he keeps defenses on their heels. Wemby's playmaking is also a huge part of his usage. He's averaging 3.9 assists per game, which means he's not just looking for his own shot, he's actively creating opportunities for his teammates. His ability to read defenses and make the right pass is rare for someone his size. It's not just about volume, it's about making the right decisions to keep the offense flowing. Turnovers are part of the equation too, and Wemby averages 3.4 per game. While that might seem like a lot, it's important to remember how much of the offense runs through him. When you're carrying this kind of load, turnovers are bound to happen. What's impressive is that he's still incredibly efficient, even with such a high level of responsibility. Now let's talk about possession. Wemby is playing 67.6 possessions per game, which gives even more context to his usage stats. That's a massive workload, but it also highlights his durability and endurance. He's not just involved, he's consistently active, possession after possession, driving his team's offense. When you put all these numbers together, it's clear that Wemby isn't just a piece of the puzzle, he's the engine that makes everything work. His usage rate, combined with his ability to score, create and maintain efficiency is what separates him from so many other players. He's carrying a workload that few in the league can handle, and he's thriving under that pressure. Wemby's advanced usage stats show just how vital he is to his team's success. He's not just involved in the offense, he's running it, leading it, and excelling in ways that make him one of the most impactful players in the league. For someone in just their second season, these numbers are incredible and prove that Wemby is truly one of a kind. Watching him take on this level of responsibility and deliver night after night is nothing short of amazing. I want to get back to his defense though. Check these out. Starting with deflections, Wemby averages 3.4 per game, placing him in the 89th percentile among all players. That's incredible for someone of his size. Deflections might not grab headlines like blocks or steals, but they're crucial for disrupting offenses. By constantly getting his hands on the ball, Wemby forces turnovers, creates chaos, and throws off opponents' rhythm. His length and instincts make him a nightmare for ball handlers trying to thread passes through tight spaces. Now, let's talk about rim defense, an area where Wemby shines brighter than almost anyone. His rim defense value is negative 12.7, putting him in the 98th percentile. This stat measures how much he reduces opponents' shooting percentages at the rim compared to league averages. Essentially, when Wemby is protecting the basket, opponents are far less likely to score. His size, timing, and ability to anticipate shots make him one of the most intimidating rim protectors in the game. Speaking of protecting the rim, his block percentage is an astounding 10.2%, which ranks in the 100th percentile. This means Wemby is blocking over 10% of opponents' two-point attempts while he's on the floor. That's not just elite, it's historic. His shot blocking ability forces opposing players to completely rethink their strategies when he's in the game. They're hesitant to drive, and even when they do, Wemby's presence often results in altered or missed shots. Another key stat is rim frequency, which measures the percentage of shots opponents take at the rim when Wemby is on the floor. His rim frequency is 47.2%, placing him in the 97th percentile. This means that while teams are still trying to attack the basket, they're doing so far less often and far less effectively when Wemby is there. His ability to deter, drives, and contest shots completely changes the way teams approach their offense. Defensive rebounding is another area where Wemby excels. He's grabbing 1.4 defensive rebounds per game, ranking in the 96th percentile. Securing defensive boards is critical for ending possessions, and Wemby's ability to dominate the glass ensures his team can transition back to offense efficiently. It's not just about grabbing the rebound, it's about denying second chance opportunities and controlling the pace of the game. His rebounding instincts and positioning make him one of the best in the league in this area. Crafted defensive plus minus, or crafted DPM, is a metric that evaluates a player's overall defensive impact. Wemby's value here is an incredible 3.3, placing him in the 99th percentile. This stat takes into account a player's ability to contest shots, disrupt plays, and contribute to their team's defensive success. Wemby's high rating shows he's not just a great individual defender, he's a defensive anchor for the entire team. Let's not forget about versatility, which measures how many different positions a player can effectively guard. Wemby's versatility rating is 16, placing him in the 25th percentile. While this might seem low, it's important to understand why. At 7'4", Wemby's role is primarily focused on guarding the paint and protecting the rim, which naturally limits his positional flexibility. But this specialization isn't a weakness, it's a strength. His dominance in the paint makes him one of the most valuable defensive players in the league. Another important stat is relative personal fouls, or RPF, which measures how many fouls a player commits relative to their defensive responsibilities. Wemby's value here is negative 0.4, putting him in the 73rd percentile. This means he's committing fewer fouls than expected for someone with his defensive workload. Staying out of foul trouble is critical for a player who anchors the defense, and Wemby excels at contesting shots without picking up unnecessary fouls. His discipline on defense ensures he can stay on the floor and continue making an impact. Relative adjusted defensive turnovers, or RAE DTOV, is another metric worth examining. This stat measures how often a player forces turnovers compared to league averages. Wemby's value here is negative 0.1, placing him in the 39th percentile. While this isn't his strongest area, it's not a concern given how dominant he is in other aspects of defense. His focus isn't on forcing turnovers, it's on altering shots, locking down the paint, and preventing high percentage looks. The lack of turnovers doesn't diminish his overall defensive brilliance. Wemby's advanced stats highlight his ability to dominate both as an individual defender and as a team player. His deflections disrupt passing lanes, his rim defense shuts down drives, and his rebounding ends possessions. He's the type of player who forces opponents to completely change their game plan, and that's a rare quality in any defender. What sets Wemby apart is how he combines these skills into a cohesive defensive package. His ability to block shots, grab rebounds, and contest at the rim makes him one of the most impactful players in the league. And while his versatility rating might suggest he's not guarding multiple positions, his dominance in the paint more than makes up for it. He's a specialist in the best way possible, excelling in the areas that matter most for his team. Another crucial aspect of Wemby's defense is how it elevates his teammates. His presence in the paint allows his guards and wings to play more aggressively, knowing they have a safety net behind them. He's not just protecting the rim, he's enabling his entire team to play better defense. That's the kind of impact that goes beyond stats. Though the numbers certainly back it up, Wemby isn't just a good defender, he's a game changer. His advanced defensive stats tell the story of a player who's already one of the best in the league, and he's only in his second season. Watching him grow into this role and continue to set the standard for defensive excellence is going to be an incredible journey. His dominance on this end of the floor is reshaping what's possible for a player of his size and skill set. Overall though, Wemby is redefining what it means to be a basketball superstar in everything we've discussed. His scoring, rebounding, ball handling, defense, and overall impact paints a picture of a player who is truly one of a kind. In just his second season, he shattered expectations, rewritten record books, and established himself as one of the most versatile and dominant players in the league. Whether it's his ability to score efficiently, control the glass, orchestrate plays, or anchor his team's defense, Wemby has proven he can do it all. His advanced scoring stats show a player who can dominate with both volume and efficiency, averaging over 25 points per game while maintaining a true shooting percentage above 60% is remarkable for any player, let alone someone standing 7'4". Add his incredible three-point shooting and his ability to draw fouls, and you have an offensive weapon that's nearly impossible to stop. Wemby's offensive versatility ensures he can adapt to any defensive scheme thrown his way, keeping opponents constantly guessing. On the boards, Wemby's dominance is equally impressive. With 10 rebounds per game and elite rankings in both offensive and defensive rebounding percentages, he's controlling the glass at a level most players can't match. His rebounding not only ends possessions on defense, but also creates second chance opportunities on offense, adding even more value to his already massive impact. His ball handling is another aspect of his game that sets him apart. For someone his size, having such control and vision is almost unheard of. Averaging nearly 4 assists per game, Wemby isn't just looking to score, he's creating for his teammates and elevating everyone around him. His ability to take care of the ball while being such a focal point of the offense is a testament to his decision-making and skill. Defensively, Wemby's advanced stats tell the story of a generational talent. With a block percentage in the 100th percentile and a rim defense ranking in the 98th percentile, he's a force of nature in the paint. Opponents have to completely change their game plans when Wemby is on the floor, knowing their chances of scoring inside are slim. His ability to anchor the defense and elevate his teammates' performance makes him one of the most impactful defenders in the league. When you bring it all together, his scoring, rebounding, ball handling, and defense, it's clear that Wemby is a once-in-a-lifetime player. His advanced stats highlight his dominance in every phase of the game, and the fact that he's doing all this in just his second season is nothing short of incredible. Wemby isn't just the future of the league, he's its present. Watching him evolve and push the limits of what's possible in basketball is going to be an unforgettable experience for fans everywhere. His career is already off to a historic start, and the best part, he's just getting started. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.